I'm Brooklyn Bridges, and this is Bridging the Gap. This episode, we're going to be talking about a Green New Deal and sustainability. Not just what you can do for sustainability, but how we can call for systemic change with a Green New Deal. I'll start by telling the narrative of the Ithaca Green New Deal. In May of 2019, they passed an Ithaca Green New Deal, which takes a lot from Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's Green New Deal and Ed Markey's Green New Deal that calls for changes in labor, changes in travel, changes in technology and public housing in order to achieve net neutrality or zero carbon by 2035, I believe. As individuals, what can we do to be more sustainable?
What we can do as individuals does not compare to what needs to be done on a mainly corporate level. But as individuals, there's plenty of action you can take, from your eating habits to driving less, getting in touch with more of your local organizations like Sunrise to get involved in movements. There is a lot of pressures that, you can do this, you should be vegan, you should be composting. And it's just a lot of expectations in a world where we're just trying to make a living wage. So I think as an individual, the biggest thing you can do is join the movements that are putting pressure on larger corporations to actually make the change that's needed for the planet.
Absolutely. I could not have said it better myself. Can anybody give us the estimated percent of carbon that comes from 100 American companies as opposed to just individuals? It's a percent from 1 to 100.
70.
70? Absolutely. You know your I know you've seen the numbers.
One thing I personally do is I don't use disposable makeup remover. I have a reusable cloth that I use, just a reusable makeup wipe, basically.
Buy secondhand, like clothing and jewelry as much as you can.
One of my favorite places in Ithaca to buy secondhand for my Ithaca viewers is the Reuse Center. Can you tell us a little bit about the Green New Deal, perhaps?
So the Green New Deal is basically to make that shift towards renewable energy, to clean energy, while also stimulating the economy so people don't lose their jobs. So you're empowering the working class while also ensuring a sustainable future for everyone on the planet.
Excellent. And as I mentioned, the Green New Deal was introduced as legislation, just as a resolution, meaning that it wasn't like a particular bill that can enact something directly, but more of a suggestion with an outline of ideas. And so with that, I'm going to transition and talk about the Ithaca Green New Deal. Like the resolution of the Green New Deal, it did not have funding. It did not have particular measures to hit. COVID hit, and that's what brings us on Zoom today. But much how our street talks were paused, the progress of the Ithaca Green New Deal was paused as well. They did a complete hiring freeze, so they couldn't hire the sustainability director that was supposed to help fund the Ithaca Green New Deal. I'm going to provide a template in the chat to email our mayor. Svante Myrick is his name. We are asking that despite the hire freeze in Ithaca, that we fund this Green New Deal. We hire a sustainability director because climate change is also a public safety threat, particularly for marginalized communities and communities of color. We're going to be dropping in the chat that email draft along with Svante Myrick's email and phone number. So you can demand just a simple copy and paste with your name put in there, a way to demand a sustainability director so we can get the ball rolling on an Ithaca Green New Deal. We start with our local communities. And in Ithaca, they are building sustainable buildings. However, they're not giving those jobs to local taxpayers who funded this project. So you'll also find an email for a public comment for Tompkins County legislature to suggest that any Green New Deal supports local and marginalized workers. It's a super important part of the work that we do. Whether you are from Ithaca or not, you are part of my community. What does sustainability mean to you?
To me, sustainability is trying to make sure my kids will be able to live the same way that I have lived and my parents have lived. And I know that's kind of looking very far into the future, but that's kind of the point of sustainability.
I think it's really important to keep in mind the future of humanity, what it's going to look like for them. Does anybody know about the climate clock that is ticking down? I'm not sure the current count. I think it's somewhere around 7 years. Is that correct, Ellie?
I'm not sure exactly on that, but I think the last projection I heard was like around 10 years if we don't make really big changes, which I know, always sounds very doomsday-esque. But for me, sustainability is not consuming in excess, and you're consuming from reasonable and ethically sourced sources.
We love to hear systems thinking. As you mentioned earlier, a lot of the problem is beyond what we can do as individuals, and it's big systems, big corporations.
I feel like we just can't give up steam. Like, we're not good. We have to keep doing what we've been doing and then amp it up times 100.